The flickering neon sign outside Eli's repair shop cast pale blue shadows across the cluttered workspace. It was well past midnight on the colony world of Terthos Prime when he heard the crash. Not the usual clatter of falling tools or the hiss of a malfunctioning pressure valve. This was different, heavier, accompanied by what sounded like growling. Eli grabbed his plasma wrench and moved cautiously toward the back storage bay. The massive cargo door had been torn open, its reinforced alloy twisted like paper. And there, tangled in a mess of cable wire, support beams, and what remained of his spare parts inventory, were two creatures that shouldn't exist. Dragons. Not the mythological kind from Earth's ancient stories, but close enough. Serpentine bodies covered in iridescent scales that shifted between copper and emerald, wings that spanned at least 15 feet each, and eyes that glowed with an intelligence that made Eli's breath catch. They were young, he could tell by their size, and thoroughly stuck. "Easy there," Eli said softly, setting down his weapon. One dragon hissed, smoke curling from its nostrils. The other whimpered, a sound so distinctly pitiful that Eli felt his heart clench. They'd been fighting, he realized. Their tails were knotted together, wings caught in the beam structure, and one had a nasty gash along its flank that was leaking something luminescent. Territorial dispute, maybe. Or sibling rivalry. "All right, kids. Let's get you untangled before you bring down my whole shop." For the next 3 hours, Eli worked with the patience that had made him the best mechanic in 6 sectors. He spoke constantly in that low, soothing voice he used with frightened ship AIs, explaining each movement before he made it. The dragons gradually stopped thrashing. The injured one, he started calling it Rowan in his head because of the copper-red sheen to its scales even allowed him to examine the wound. "This is gonna sting," Eli warned, applying a medical gel meant for hull breaches. Rowan's entire body went rigid, but it didn't snap at him. Progress. By dawn, both dragons were free. They stretched their wings experimentally, testing their range of motion. The uninjured one, sleeker, with more emerald in its scales, fixed Eli with a stare that felt almost grateful. Then, with a powerful thrust of wings, they both launched into the pale purple sky of Terthos Prime and vanished. Eli surveyed the wreckage of his shop and sighed. Well, that's one for the memoir. He was elbow-deep in a Star Cruiser's engine the next afternoon when the knock came. Not a knock, really. More like a deliberate, resonant boom that shook dust from the rafters. 3 figures stood at his threshold when he opened the door. Humanoid, but not human. They were tall, nearly 7 feet, with skin that seemed to shimmer with the same iridescent quality as dragon scales. Their eyes were vertical-slitted, ancient, and carried the weight of civilizations. "Eli Thorne," the center figure said. Her voice was like wind through canyons. "We are the elders of the Draconid collective. You aided our young." Eli's mind raced. Draconids. He'd heard rumors, whispered stories in spacer bars about a race that could shift between forms, that guarded their territories with legendary ferocity, that had rejected every human attempt at contact for the past century. "I just helped 2 creatures in trouble," Eli said carefully. "Rowan and Kaida," another elder said, a male with silver streaking his temples. "Our kin." They engaged in a youthful disagreement. They should not have been discovered. The female elder stepped forward. "Yet you did not alert authorities. You did not attempt to capture or exploit them. You simply helped. This is unexpected. Where I come from, you don't leave kids tangled up in wire," Eli said. Dragon, or otherwise. A long silence stretched between them. The elders exchanged glances, some unspoken communication passing between them. "For 97 years, the female elder finally said, we have observed humanity's expansion into our territories. We have seen exploitation, domination, the treating of non-human intelligence as resources to be harvested. We have kept our distance, maintained our borders, prepared for the inevitable conflict." She gestured to Eli's destroyed shop. And then one of you does this, sacrifices his livelihood, risks personal harm, for two strangers who could have killed him. No expectation of reward. No thought of gain. Your species confuses us, Eli Thorne, the male elder admitted. You are capable of such cruelty, yet such unexpected kindness. The third elder, who had remained silent, spoke now. The young ones wish to thank you properly. And we wish to reconsider our stance. They stepped aside, and Rowan and Kaida emerged from behind them, now in humanoid form themselves, young adults with copper and emerald hair, eyes still glowing with that inner fire. Rowan's arm was bandaged where the wound had been. You could have let us fight until we hurt ourselves worse, Rowan said quietly. Or called the colonial military. Either would have been easier. But you chose the harder path. Kaida added. The kind path. That is, rare. Created. The Senil. The female elder produced a crystalline device from her robes. This is a communication beacon, tuned to our frequencies. Should you need aid, or should other humans demonstrate such honor, it can bridge the gap we have maintained. Consider it the beginning of a conversation. Long overdue. Eli took the device, its surface warm against his palm. I just fixed a problem. No, the elder said, and for the first time, she smiled, a expression both alien and achingly familiar. You saw beings in pain and acted with compassion. That is not just fixing a problem. That is what your people call humanity. And perhaps, it is something we need to learn is not exclusive to your species alone. As they departed, Rowan looked back. Thank you, Eli, for seeing us as people, not monsters. Eli watched them disappear into the sky, their forms shifting mid-flight back into their true dragon shapes. He looked down at the beacon in his hand. Then, at his destroyed shop. Tomorrow, he'd start repairs. But tonight, he'd made first contact not through governments or military channels, but through the simple act of helping someone in need. Sometimes, he thought, the most human thing you could do was remember that being human meant more than just species. It meant choosing compassion when it cost you something, and that, apparently, was worth something to the stars.